Well, grab yourself a spoonful of honey, kids, and gather round. It's story time with Old Bear. Now, you're probably wondering why Old Bear is wearing a tie. Well, I'm going to tell you. Because today we're going to talk about something that Old Bear really loves, and that's the theater. Now, I'm not talking about the movie theater. I'm talking about the live theater where you go to see plays, especially musicals, which are plays with music. So whenever I go to see one of these musicals, I like to dress up a little bit. I like to put on my hat, get my tie, and look, I'm even wearing cufflinks. You don't see those too much anymore, do you? Well, if you were sitting right here in front of Old Bear, you'd probably ask the question, well, Bear, when did the love of musicals begin? And I would look you in the eye and I would say, well, that is an excellent question. It all started back when Old Bear was in junior high school. Well, nowadays, most people call it middle school, but I prefer the term junior high because it made us sound a little older and maybe even a little smarter than we were. Well, I attended Griffith Junior High School in Griffith, Indiana. Now, we're going back to around 1970, 71, and we had a music teacher that also loved musicals. It's because of him, I'm sure, that my first love of musicals began. Well, we did a production of an Andrew Lloyd Webber, Tim Rice musical called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolored Dreamcoat. Now, I know that is a long title, but it is worth it. Now, I played the part of one of the brothers. It was a small part, but I loved it. It was later in my life that I realized that there aren't any small parts, just small actors, and since I was about average, I figured that didn't even apply to me. But after we did that play, we did another one. It was called Jesus Christ Superstar, written by the same two people that wrote Joseph. That's when I was hooked. I loved that play. I loved the songs in it, and I still sing them to this day to myself when no one's around or whenever they are, because it doesn't matter. When you have a song in your heart, you should let it go and sing it. That's what I do. That's what you should do too. And you don't have to be a great singer. Old Bear's not a great singer, but I love to sing. Isn't that weird? That's funny. So from that point on, Jesus Christ Superstar became my favorite all-time musical until just maybe 10 or 12 years ago. I heard for the first time a play called Les Miserables, and it stole my heart. It's a sad musical, but it is so beautifully written. It took place about 200 years ago during the French Revolution. It's a lovely thing, and I encourage everyone who's never seen Les Miserables to see it. Now, for those of us who have seen it so many times, we're allowed to call it Les Mis, and I do. And that's the only play I've ever seen on Broadway in New York, and later I saw it in Chicago, and then my youngest son bought tickets for us to go see it in Nashville, and I'm going to tell you quickly, I had no idea where we were setting, and when we got into the place, he goes, let's see what the stage looks like, and I said, okay, William, let's go there. And the next thing I know, we're in the front row. He bought like the best seats in the house, and it was amazing. He's a good boy. Well, later on, I saw it at a few other places. I even seen my oldest granddaughter do it at her high school in Martinsville, Indiana, and they too did a lovely job. Now, if you want to know for where I think the very best production was, it was in a little theater called the Little Theater on the Square in Sullivan, Illinois. It made me cry. It was so, so beautiful. Well, Old Bear, getting back to some of the story, hadn't been on the stage for over 35 years when back in 2009, that's just 5 years ago or so, I auditioned and got the part for a musical called A Christmas Carol. Now, I played in that one of Scrooge's business associates, and I had the line in that play of, I don't mind going if lunch is provided. I love that line. I love that musical. We did it for about 12 shows before it finally ended, and I was sad. Old Bear was sad when they did the final curtain. But a few weeks after that play, I auditioned for another musical. Now, this one was going to have a much smaller cast, So I knew that Old Bear didn't stand too much of a chance, but I gathered up my courage and I auditioned. Now we had to sing one song for the director and then read a few lines if he asked us to. Well, I went up on that stage and I was nervous. I'll be honest with you. Old Bear was nervous. And I went up on that stage and I looked at the director and the stage person and the producer and all these other people. And I said, I'd like to sing a song from the 1960 musical Wildcat. And they said, okay. So I started singing. I started, hey, look me over, lend me an ear, fresh out of clover, mortgaged up to here. But don't pass the plate, folks, don't pass the cup. I figure whenever you're down and out, the only way is up, and I was up like a rosebud high on the vine. And that's when I forgot the rest of the words, right there on that very stage. Now the director said, that's okay, all we needed was 16 bars anyway. And I said, do you want me to start at the beginning? He goes, no, that's not necessary. So I didn't. But he said, I do appreciate your song. Nobody sings the good old songs from the early musicals. And that made me feel a little bit better. I didn't get a part in the play. And to this very day, I'm not sure if it was because of my lack of being able to sing, or my forgetting the lines on a very short song, or possibly the fact that it was an all-female cast that they were looking for. But anyway, that didn't stop me from trying out for other plays. Right after that, I did another one at the same school, at the college. And then in the summer of 2010, I got the role of, for the musical, I'm sorry, it's not a musical, for the play One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now, some of your parents may have seen that movie. And actually, I was the only one in the cast that had two parts. And I had to keep running back and forth, playing one crazy man and then another even crazier man. And we won't talk too much more about that. But I still had a good time. And I haven't been in any more plays recently. I do a little one-man show from time to time for people who are willing to hear Old Bear sing. But for you kids out there, I just want you to know that, you know, when Old Bear was in school, he wasn't the football star. He wasn't the third baseman of the baseball team. He didn't set the records with academic achievement. No, Old Bear was sort of outside the box. But you know what I found out? The theater world and the music world, they welcome people. They welcome people like me, which makes them okay in my book. So that's about all the time I've got for today. Just remember to take your spoons back into the kitchen. Give your mom and dad a big hug. That's Old Bear trying to sing. That's why I'm not in any more musicals. But just remember, if you have a song in your heart, let it out. It's okay. Bye-bye now.